Hello golfers, PGA teaching professional Todd Kolb here on behalf of US Golf TV, and I'm excited again to do one of our, obviously here, our Facebook Live videos. I'm going to share some information with you. Golf season it's coming. Some of you are probably already golfing if you're in a warmer climate, and for those of us up north, we're a little jealous right now. But golf season is coming for the whole country, and so people are starting to practice a little bit more. Things are picking up, not only here at our academy, the golfers are coming in, but kind of all over. Golf is on TV now, the PGA Tour is in full swing, the LPGA Tour is off and running, and so we're starting to think a little bit about golf. And so when we start thinking about golf, hopefully also you're thinking about the upcoming season and getting a little bit better and playing better golf. So hopefully you're going to be practicing a little bit. So right now, today, I want to give you some suggestions before the season really gets into full swing about how to get the most out of your practice session. So be sure at any point, if you have any questions or comments, type those down below, and I'll be happy to do the best I can to answer those for you. So when we look at devising a practice plan, there's a couple key things that we want to keep in mind. Obviously, people always think about they always ask Todd, like, how long should I practice? Well, of course, that's going to be up to you and kind of where you're at in terms of available time. But I can tell you this, even for the professionals that I work with, if you get out and you have an organized practice plan, you spend 2-3 hours of practice, that's a long time, and you can get a lot done. And even in a matter of an hour, you can get a lot done. So in a good practice plan, there's many components, and I like to put those components into what I'm going to call buckets. So today I've got 4 different buckets. So this is our golf practice plan. Now those 4 buckets, we're going to talk about details of each bucket in a second, but we've got a technique, we've got a tempo bucket, we've got a balance bucket, and a performance bucket. So first thing I want to do is go through define them, what are those buckets, give you some suggestions on how to use those buckets, and then actually we'll devise a quick kind of practice plan around the concept. So the first one is easy. It's technique. That's why I put it in red, because it's easy. And this is where most people live when they practice. So in the technical or the technique bucket, they're working on specific things in their game. So maybe they're working on their grip, or they're working on their takeaway, or something in their downstroke. Those types of things. It's something that's related to the technical aspect of moving the golf club. The next bucket is tempo. All right, tempo. And tempo could be defined as rhythm or flow or just timing. Those are a couple of the words that come to mind when we think about tempo. But we all know from day to day that the golf swing feels a little bit different. All right, even though the technique might be the same, the tempo is where the fluctuation changes. So we need to practice that. And I'm going to show you exactly today a little bit how to do that. The third part, the third bucket, is what I call the balance bucket. And if you watch anybody who's a good golfer, they're always in balance. But when you ask a lot of people about practicing, they hardly ever practice balance. Right? So that should be a big part of your practice plan. And then the last one, and probably the most important one, and probably the one that gets forgotten the most often, is what I call the performance bucket. All right, now in the performance bucket, that's where we practice actual performance, the execution of the shot, whatever that shot might be. And we'll dive a little bit deeper into that in just a few seconds here. So these are the 4 buckets. All right, these are the 4 buckets that we live in terms of our practice plan. So just if that's all you took away from this, you're going to be well off. Just understanding that your practice plan should have a variety of things. Now, you can use these same concepts in practicing any aspect of your game. So we're going to talk today in our example about the full swing, but you could use the same principle, the same concept here, the same process with putting, chipping, bunkers. I mean, really anything in golf that you could practice. So let's go through the full swing. And like I said earlier, if you have any comments or questions, be sure to fire those in there so we can get them answered for you. So the first thing I want you to do, first concept here is every time that you switch from one bucket to the other bucket, you're going to change clubs. All right, that's the first suggestion I have, is that move clubs. Now, why would I suggest that? Because that's kind of how the game is played. You don't hit 57 irons in a row when you're playing around a golf. right? Hopefully you just hit one, and then hopefully you're putting or something like that. So when you move from bucket to bucket, all right, you're going to always switch clubs. The second thing is that I would never hit more than 3 balls. All right, so I'm just going to write that down. So we're going to 3 balls in each bucket. All right, and the reason behind that is that I want you to learn to transition from one to the next. And I'm going to talk a little bit deeper about that in just a second. So let's say in the technical bucket, let's say you're working with your coach, all right, and you're working on your grip for sake of discussion. All right, so that would be my focus in the technique bucket is my grip. I'm going to hit 3 shots, and let's say I hit those shots with my 7-iron. Pretty simple, right? And my whole focus for those 3 golf balls is on nothing other than my grip. If my grip was right, I can check that was successful. I don't care where the ball goes. I don't care what my tempo is like, my balance, none of that. I just care, did I get my grip correct? And if I've done that, then I've been successful. So after I've done that, we're going to move to the next bucket, which is tempo. So once again, we're going to hit 3 shots, and we're going to switch clubs. And let's say this time we're going to hit 5 irons for sake of discussion. Now, in the tempo bucket, there's a lot of different things that you could focus on tempo. So I'm just going to use a drill. We call it the 90-70 drill, or we might call it the 80-60, depends. But for today, we're going to call it the 90-70. So basically, what that means is that I'm going to make my 90% backswing speed and 70% downstroke speed. So it's 90 back, 70 through. I'm trying to learn to change the tempo, change the pace at which I swing the golf club. And of course I do that with 3 shots. And what I'm doing there is I'm heightening my awareness of my tempo when I'm doing that particular drill. All right, so I've done 3 of those. Now I'm going to move over to balance. And of course, as you already know, I'm going to hit 3 shots. And let's say this time, I'm going to switch to my 9-iron. All right, now there's tons of bouncers. We've got a lot of them at US Golf TV that we've put out there, but you probably got some of your own. There's a lot of great balance drills. So we're going to focus on, let's say we're going to hit shots off just our left foot only. For a right-handed golfer, we're going to hit shots off our lead foot only. And we're going to hit 3 of them, of course, when we're doing that particular drill. Okay, so we finished that. Now we're going to switch over to the performance here. I'm going to hit 3 shots, and let's do something fun. Let's do something fun this time. Let's say we're going to hit the driver, right? In the performance bucket. So in the performance bucket, we're going to hit 3 shots, but with each one of those shots, you're going to go through your entire routine. You're going to practice your entire routine. You're going to grab the club out of the bag. If you make 1 practice swing, 2 practice swings, whatever it might be, but you're going to go through all of those, the full routine, and then you're going to execute the shot. All right, and you'll do that, like I said, for all 3 balls. Now, once you finish that, boom, we're going to go right back to the top, okay? And we're going to get back to our grip. We're going to hit our 3 shots, maybe with a different club, and then we're going to go to our tempo. And maybe you got a couple different drills. You can switch up the drills. It's up to you. Typically, here at the Academy, we'll do 1 drill, per practice session in the tempo and in the balance. But then we'll go to the balance and the performance and those things. And we'll kind of work this cycle. It's kind of the idea that we're doing there. Now, one of the things that's going to happen when you do this, you're going to start getting more out of it. You're going to be like, wow, that was a very productive practice session. My technique got better. I'm finally creating some awareness of my tempo, my timing, whatever you want to call it. My balance seems to be getting better. And when those 3 things start improving, your performance starts improving because you're practicing all these things that can help you play better golf. Now, the cool thing about this is that the additional benefit that's happening that you're probably not even aware of is that you're developing a very, very important skill when it comes to playing good golf. And that skill is hard to teach. And that skill is the ability to turn something on while you turn something else off. Okay, I'm going to say that again. The ability to turn something on and turn other things off is a skill that all great players have. So what do I mean by that? Well, when you're in the technique bucket, that's your only focus. So the technique is up. it's on. Which means the tempo is off, the balance is off, your performance is off. Because your whole focus is on there. Now when you switch, okay, when I switch and you go to tempo, of course now the tempo is on, right, and everything else is off. So I've learned to turn off technique and turn on tempo. Now where does that come into play? Well, let's think about it. You go to the first tee, maybe you're a little nervous, there's people watching, there's things going on, it's a big tournament, or you're playing with the boss or some buddies, and all these other things are getting turned on. All these awarenesses are getting turned on, okay, because you're starting to kind of, oh wow, I'm pretty nervous about this. You have to be able, if you want to play great golf, you have to be able to learn to turn those things down, right? But how do you practice that? Well, this is how you practice that. So when you walk to the first tee, you know, all right, you know that, hey, I got to have all of my energy right here, right now. I've got to have all my energy in this performance bucket, and I know that I can turn all these other things off, all right, then you're going to start executing and hitting some great shots that you've got. All right, so it sounds like we've got maybe a question here.
Yeah, we got a question from Travis. He's asking, does grip dictate ball position and shaft lean on address, or does shaft lean and ball position dictate grip?
Okay, that's a great question. Thank you for that, Travis. So when it comes to the grip, all right, I'm going to preface this by saying there's a lot of ways that you can play good golf. Now, generally, I suggest, of course, a neutral grip. If somebody new comes into the academy, they've played very little golf or new to the game, we're going to teach them a neutral grip. All right? If somebody comes to the academy who's an established player and has some proven results, and maybe they have a strong grip, for sake of discussion, all right, we're gonna work with that because they have proven that their sequence, their body motion, can work well with the strong grip. So that's the first thing I want to say. Now, I'm a big believer that the ball position and the shaft lean play really kind of hand in hand. So I like to see the ball position basically off where the logo would be on a shirt, or kind of the left side of your lead face. So like for me, it'd be my left eye, left chest muscle right out there. That's where I want to see the ball position for my irons. With the driver, I might see it a little bit forward. I always, for the most part, like to see the shaft in a neutral position. So the shaft basically kind of points at the belt buckle. So when I'm in the position where I'm hitting an iron, the shaft is basically equal with the golf ball. Now with the driver, it might be slightly behind to help promote an upward motion. So at the end of the day, strong grip, weak grip, neutral grip. If you're new to the game, I'm going to suggest that you go to a neutral grip. If you've played a lot of golf and you've had a lot of success already, then I'm probably going to keep the grip that you've got. So hopefully that helps answer your question, and I appreciate that. Like I said, if anybody else got any other questions, be sure to fire those out. We're here to help you and get those answered. So when we're back here to our buckets, like we were talking, we're practicing this ability to turn something on and turn something off. That's a key component to playing good golf. That's why, okay, the best players in the world can stand there on the 18th tee with a one-stroke lead, and they can hit a shot and they can execute it because they've learned to turn other things off. And that is a skill. And this practice plan, what we've devised here for you, will kind of help allow us to do that. So hopefully this is some good information for you. Like we said, spring's, for some of you, you're golfing already. For some of you, it's just around the corner. You know, a lot of you are busy, you're working, you don't have an unlimited amount of time to practice. You got to get the most out of that practice time. All right, you got to get the most out of that practice time. Think of your practice in terms of buckets, technique, tempo, balance, and performance. If you do that, I think it'll help you devise a good practice plan, and it will help you start playing some better golf. So appreciate you watching. Be sure to follow us on our social media. We're always putting out the best information we can to help you play golf. We love hearing from you, whether it be on our Twitter feed, or Facebook, or email, however you want to get a hold of us. We're here to help you out, and we look forward to our next session and helping you play some better golf.